Okay, so right off the bat, the first thing we see is Dennis throw to Josh Norris. As Norris catches the disc, the one and only player on the field he is certain is open, with a good 10-yard separation, is Dennis. But Josh does what every other player in the world does. He pivots blind 180 degrees to look for the upfield throw. Why does he do this? What has this accomplished as far as dictating tempo or manipulating the defense? It's done nothing. It's kind of hard to tell in this video, but at the point that Josh catches the disc, it seems like he's got about 20 yards of separation from his defender or marker. But by the time he throws it, that separation between him and the marker is down to 5 or 7 yards. So this is sort of a waste. Now this next play is really insane. Look at all the separation here and all the different aspects. Dieter catches the disc and has separation to 4 completely different throwing lanes. The negative throwing lane could be covered by either Josh or Dennis, depending on who cuts to that spot. But all of these 4 places are wide open. And yet he does, again, what every other player in the world does. He pivots blindly down the field. What Dieter here doesn't validate any of these wide open players. And there's 4 players that are wide open here, meaning that between Dieter, I can't remember who all the players are, Josh, Dennis, I forget the other 2. That only leaves two players upfield that are potentially open, and they're not when he cuts. I think one of them is Bode and someone else. But what he's doing is not dictating tempo at all. In fact, he's playing right into the defender's hands by catching the disc, pivoting away from 5 wide open players and pivoting blindly into what might be an upfield throw. Now with this next play, what I've done is create a rectangle in the area that is obviously belonging to the offense. This is what's been, this is the hill that's been taken. It's open to exploit. And what you need to understand here is that none of these plays do you actually have to throw the disc. All Bode needs to do here is let the defense know that he knows that they know he might throw into that zone. Just by showing this, you are dictating tempo. The defense has to honor every possible attack, and so by the offense being multidimensional, the defense has to guard against each and every attack option you show to it. So from this one set, we've got several options again right off the reception. Option 1, Ben Dieter makes a really lame penetration move, but I've put in a line where the effective move could have gone. This would probably be my number 1 option here, being is that penetration is really the name of the game. Option 2, Dieter runs an out pattern, a flare cut preferably, like we do in the triangle weave drill, to fill the lane, the void left by Dennis, and then Dennis takes the penetration lane. Option 3, Christian Johnson is wide open in the backfield. And then option 4, Josh Norris executes a swim move to get around his defender to get into the backfield. Swim move, something I haven't showed you guys yet, but it's one of my best moves as far as really undressing a defender. On this next pass, take a look at the separation Christian Loridis has when he catches the disc. It looks like a good 8 yards. And what does he do? The same thing every other ultimate player on the planet does. Pivot right into the defense and give back their 8 yards almost immediately. Take the hill, give up the hill. Take the hill, give up the hill. Okay, again, Bode did nothing to penetrate here, but that would have been option number 1. He was clearly in position to penetrate and break down the defense, and that didn't happen. He just threw basically like he was playing hot potato. The throw to Christian just seemed to be completely purposeless. It accomplished nothing in particular other than resetting the stall count. Ideally, though, Matt gets the disc back here from Christian, or at least at a minimum, the defense honors the play and has to guard against it. Option 2 is that Christian penetrates negative right after catching the disc, hitting Dennis. At this point, the 8-yard separation he had against his defender is now 15. Option 3 is that after Christian looks off both Bode and Tarasi, he pivots back to the end zone. At this point, the 8-yard separation is still mostly intact because the defender has to guard against the throw and go, and he's playing soft. Bingo! Christian's throw to Norris is met with Josh centering the disc back to Dennis, Whatever separation was there is maintained. However, and this is straight from Saturday's drill, Dennis goes for the dump swing style pivot instead of the dump penetrate. First thing to check out is look at the separation Josh has on his defender when he throws the disc. It's at least 5 yards. And this happens all the time on this dump swing style of play. Just watch for it. A dump penetrate destroys this. A play action would probably be a good call here, or a straight penetration with a dish going back to Josh going across the field. But either way, whatever separation was there to begin with has now been multiplied and magnified. Once again, even if Dennis looks off the penetration moves and continues his pivot all the way through, even though it's a counterclockwise pivot instead of a clockwise pivot, or vice versa, he's lost nothing and most likely retains some separation, so the dump swing is still intact and probably even more powerful now, as he is now in the triple threat position and can penetrate into the swing instead of just throwing it to the other person. Okay, now this next play is a mess. Josh gets the disc back, and he's still got some separation on his marker, but that quickly dissipates, and compared to the dump penetrate or any number of other plays that could have been played there, this play has no production value at all. Nothing's really been produced. There seems to be no purpose behind what's happening. I would add here that a penetration move along the blue line that I've put in here creates huge separation between Josh and his marker. The marker is already looks like 25 feet off of him, well outside the 3 meters, so there's no way this is possibly a screen. And if done right, it creates just ridiculous separation. Anyway, that's a strategic call whether or not you want to run those kinds of plays. Tactically, it's there for the taking if you want it. And that's about it for this point. Bode gets the disc back, flips it to Dennis, who throws a nice little lefty lift for the score. But nothing about this entire point seemed to have done with any intention or purpose. The offense did not dictate tempo at all, and won the point not because of power, but because of force.